It's better off that you accept something knowing that it came from Allah, who has all knowledge in the world, than rejecting it just because it didn't go in line with your intellect. By the way, this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Your intellect is not a criteria to judge what should be or should not be. You understand? So there's certain things that will not make sense, but you still have to accept it because you know where it came from. It came from Allah, who has all knowledge.
Yeah, I mean,
He is
the only issue is, and I'm a layman, so you might have to dumb it down for me. My concern is that if we don't use logic, how do we know that it's from Allah? So my understanding is I have to use logic to know that things are from Allah, and that's what I used. And can Allah make an illogical statement? I don't think so. So that's why I reject Trinity and other constructs. So that's why I see that logic is the epitome of understanding, different things.
Brother, I understand that logic, but brother, our intellect is limited. That's one thing we have to understand. Our intellect is limited. That's a reality. I think Brother Kareem wants to say something.
So, what did you find unlogical in the Quran?
I didn't find anything illogical in Quran. It's just that I have to use logic to understand it. That's the point I'm making. When certain interpretations are illogical, and by logic I don't mean a reasoning. I mean reasoning, but I mean it in a very literal sense, as in like the three laws of logic: law of non-contradiction, law of excluded, so on and so forth.
You don't have to be taught the laws of logic.
No,
bro,
I don't mean so. What you're talking about is essentially induction. I'm talking about deduction.
I want to
So
make something clear though, Habibi. Listen, logic is not a criteria in which we can use to accept or reject something which is found in the Quran and the Sunnah. Oh, brother, you have to understand. Allah told us to follow the companions. That's what I'm trying to understand. Their reason is superior than your reason. Their understanding is superior than your understanding. That's what I'm trying to push to you, bro. So your
yeah,
logic,
but the
your
issue is
reason,
like so I'll tell
your
you.
rhetoric, your philosophy holds no
Your
merit in this. Hear me out. Hear
sure.
me out. Your logic, your rhetoric, your philosophy holds no merit in accepting or rejecting something which came from Allah, His Messenger, and the consensus of the companions and their understanding. Because Allah told you to follow them, and we blindly follow whoever Allah tells us to follow. That's it.
Yeah, I follow the companions as well. My issue is that when there are deductive contradictions, that can't be reality. So it cannot exist in reality. So, for instance, you just mentioned that two truths can be same, right? So the issue that I have is that you have a certain interpretation of the Quran, right? And that interpretation is your subjective interpretation. If
No, it's
you are trying to,
not.
no,
I keep
I'm telling
telling
you
you
why.
it's not subjective.
No,
Why
it
do you
can't
keep
be objective.
resisting?
No,
It's
because I'll tell you.
subjective.
Because scholarly opinion differed on interpretations, right? So that's why
No,
we have different schools of Aqidah. So my
no,
concern is,
that's not true.
sure,
That's
sure.
not true.
Here,
People left the main body. That's why. But bro, I'm telling you, it's not subjective.
so you're telling
Okay.
me your
No, no,
Aqidah is the
listen.
right Aqidah,
Yeah,
and Christians are telling me their religion is the
no,
right religion?
listen. It's not subjective. Let me tell you why it's not subjective. Because we have this is what we base things on. What Allah said, what His Messenger said, what His companions said, and Allah told you to follow the companions. So it's not subjective if Allah told you to follow the companions. Their understanding is better than your understanding. Their deductive reasoning is better than any type of deductive reasoning that you can think of, because Allah praised them. He said to follow them. He said they were the best among you. So the people started leaving the main body after the death of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. This is what you need to understand. Of the likes of the Qadariya, the Jahmiya, the Maturidi, the Diobendi, the Asha'ira. Dude, none of the look. First and foremost, you're friend with this guy down there named Ilyas. I think yes, your friend. And on top of that, this guy is like, what is he like? Some type of, I don't even know what this guy is, to be honest. A'udhu billah min
A
zalik.
philosopher.
Wait. I think I understand what Hamdan wants to say. Hamdan, are you Arab?
Yes, I'm here.
حبيب القرآن يفسر ينازل. How do you interpret the Quran? You know the rules?
So you're asking me how do I interpret the Quran?
No. How it should be? What are the rules that have been set
Oh,
by
okay.
the and Khulafa? Okay.
So I'll tell you how I interpret the Quran. I think anything that violates the laws, the three laws of logic in the Quran, uh, uh, I don't see.
You just said that the
The,
Quran doesn't do that. You just said that the Quran doesn't do
Wait,
that.
wait, wait,
yeah,
brother,
yeah, yeah,
brother
yeah.
Abid,
And then I
brother Abid,
reject. Listen to me, brother. Listen to me. I reject any interpretation of the Quran that violates the laws of logic because interpretation is subjective. The
Brother,
only
but the interpretations
listen
that
to
we use
me,
are
brother. You don't listen.
evidences come before logic and reason and intellect. You have to understand that first and
You don't
foremost.
understand the
And
difference
Allah,
between induction and deduction. That's
one
why you're
second,
saying this.
what? Are you serious? You disagree
Yes,
with what I
yes.
just
I'll
said?
tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because you're
Brother, the Quran is
confusing
from
induction.
Allah. Brother, the Quran is
I
from
know.
Allah.
I agree, 100%.
So what are you
Yes,
talking about?
101.
Allah is infinite in His knowledge. You are not. It's not hard to understand.
I
Textual
don't know why you're
proofs,
bringing that. I agree with that.
because textual proofs come before intellect. The Quran is a speech of Allah who knows everything. So if something in the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ does not speak from his own whims and desires, as Allah says in Surah An-Najm, so I say ittaqillah, fear Allah. So what Allah said and what His Messenger said is objective. And Allah also told you to follow the companions. I already gave you an
Okay,
ayat
so
about the
I'll ask you one question. Is the understanding of the Quran inductive or deductive?
What do you mean the understanding of the Quran? The understanding of the Quran is from Allah.
Man, when you read any semantic system, are you
Brother,
using induction or deduction?
the
I'll
understanding
tell you why it's
the
subjective. I'll tell you
brother,
why
you're
it's
trying to
subjective.
have listen, you're trying to have a debate when it comes you're trying to debate, I understand, but look, bro, we have
I'm
to be
not
sincere.
debating.
Okay? We have to be sincere, bro, because I don't want to do this, to be honest, because this is blameworthy
I'm
for me
sincere.
to
I want to know.
no. We have this is blameworthy for me to go back and forth with you and have to use rhetoric just to convince you. I shouldn't have to use rhetoric, brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran to follow the messenger alayhi salatu wassalam. Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul. Obey Allah and obey His messenger and those in authority among you. He did not say obey those who are the most intellectually smart. No, He did not, brother. So follow Allah and His messenger. I don't want to keep going back and forth with you, to be honest, because then I will start falling into blameworthy debate, to be honest. And I don't want to make a mistake and speak about Allah without knowledge. So,
That's
okay,
why Allah told you to
finally,
use reason in
finally,
the Quran.
brother Abid,
You should
finally,
use reason because it's mentioned in the Quran.
but there's a wrong way to use
yeah,
reason also. You
How do you know
understand?
that you're?
yeah, yeah,
Uh, uh,
yeah, Hamdan,
there's no wrong way because objective truth is objective.
You're
yeah,
using
but
reason wrong in the wrong way right now. As Allah
You
said in
don't
the Quran,
understand
those
reason. Do
as
you
Allah,
understand
oh
what
yes,
reason is?
thank you. Allah said in the Quran that the people who are going to be in hellfire, they're going to say, "Oh, how I wish I used my reason correctly, my understanding correctly." There's a right way and a wrong way to use your
And
intellect.
what's the
This is the
wrong way?
refutation to the philosophers. What you're doing right now, you're
How am I?
trying to,
Okay,
brother.
listen to me, brother.
I'm gonna ask you
I
a
respect you.
very,
I want to
brother.
know
I'm
how
gonna
am I
ask
doing
you.
it the wrong way. I want to.
I'm gonna ask you a very direct question. Do you take intellect over textual proof? Yes or no?
That's a contradictory question.
Okay. Do you know? Let me make it clear. Does your intellect come before the Quran?
No, not at all.
Okay. Does your intellect come before the Sunnah?
Not at all.
Does your intellect come
I
before the
have to use.
companion?
I have to use intellect
Brother, you
to
didn't hear the
understand the
last
Quran.
question. You didn't hear the last question. Does your intellect, maybe this is hard for you to understand, does your intellect go above the companions when it comes to the companion, the Prophet
No,
alayhi
not at
salatu wasallam?
all. Not at all.
Okay, so what are we arguing for?
But I'm arguing for the fact
wait,
that
brother,
you're saying don't use intellect. I'm telling you the only way to understand is through intellect. Otherwise, I would have accepted. Otherwise, a Christian would come and tell you don't use intellect. My faith is
Reason,
right. Accept the Trinity. But in the Quran, Allah
reason.
says again and again, deliberate, think, deliberate, use your reason.
brother, okay, but we can prove Quran that Quran is right. You are a Muslim, we don't have to prove it to you. This is the first point. Second point, I said it at the beginning. How do we interpret the Quran? We interpret it with the language in the Sunnah. باللغة والسنة, صح?
Sorry,
Maybe there's
it's
a
hard to hear
misunderstanding.
you.
Right?
Sorry, brother.
After that, everything in this universe
Yeah,
is
Quran and
subjective.
Sunnah. Quran
Give
and
me,
Sunnah will
give me
never
anything.
contradict.
Okay,
It's
then you accept that. You're not Mu'tazili or Rafidi, right?
no,
You
not at
agree
all.
with the Sunnah, yeah? Okay, perfect.
Brother, what do you mean
So,
contradict,
brother,
bro?
there is
Wait,
there
wait,
is there is rules that
wait,
that
wait.
wait, brother Abed,
I accept everything in the Quran through reason.
Brother,
You
there's
accept
some
everything
things
in
in
the
the
Quran through
Quran,
your
brother,
interpretation. Are you
wallahi.
Okay,
guys
perfect.
literalists?
brother, wallahi, you don't understand. There's some things in the
Perfect,
Quran
perfect.
that wait 1 second. There's some things in the Quran that don't go in line with reason. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, brother.
You said that you believe the Quran, the Sunnah, and the Hadith, everything, right? But
Believe
I now I understand what you mean. You
they are
believe
not
it because
illogical.
you are based on you are your vision is based on the three laws of logic, right?
No, I believe there cannot be real contradictions.
Bro, you spreading
There
shubuhat,
is
bro.
no
You gotta
contradiction.
relax. 1 second, you spreading shubuhat, bro. We
No,
don't believe.
In the Quran,
Yes,
Allah says multiple times, use reason,
bro.
use reason. In it are signs for people who use
But there's a
reason, use
wrong
reason.
way. There's a wrong way. You're using
How
the
do you,
reason the
so my
wrong
way is the
way.
wrong way?
But you're using yes. I keep
Why?
telling you. You're using your intellect in the wrong way. And brother, you're spreading
Okay.
shubuhat in the chat, bro. You're speaking about
What did I
Allah's
do?
hand. Allah's hands is power. What do you mean Allah's hands is power? What do you mean by that,
I
bro?
believe Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran multiple times in Surah Ikhlas, if you read that Allah Ta'ala is infinite, Allah Ta'ala does not have kids, Allah Ta'ala does not have
Wait. Bro, you're talking about
yeah,
Allah's hand. A'udhu billah min
yeah,
dhalik.
and yeah, so that's what I'm saying. When Allah
What do you
says
mean?
that there are verses in the Quran which are so you believe Allah has hands, physical
Wait,
hands?
wait. Did you get this from
We
Hadith,
don't say
Poka?
physical. We don't say
Do you
physical. We say
I have a
physical.
question. Do you believe Allah has hands? I'm
Yes.
actually curious.
Yes. We believe
Yes.
Allah has literal hands. Yes.
Are
But you
you
asking
Ash'ari,
how?
Poka?
Kidding.
1 second, Daqiqa.
Astaghfirullah, guys.
You spreading
Why
shubuhat
you
here, bro.
astaghfirullah? Why you
You spreading
Why? How
astaghfirullah?
can
shubuhat,
Allah
bro.
have hands? How
You
can
spreading shubuhat.
a
You
limitless
spreading
God be
shubuhat.
limited?
Wait, you spreading shubuhat. We affirm that Allah has hands. Then you started asking, is it physical? Why are you asking why? Why are you asking if it's
I'm
physical?
not asking you anything. I
Why are you
don't believe
asking that?
Allah has hands. I believe
Okay,
it's
no,
metaphoric.
but brother, you asking
There's a
if it's
difference of
physical.
opinion.
Listen carefully, bro. You asking if it's physical or not physical is an innovation. Nobody asked if Allah's hands are physical or not physical. We accept yes, He has hands in a way that befits His Majesty. You cannot affirm that Allah's hand means power when He said He created Adam with His own hands. That don't make no sense, bro.
So I'll tell you something. When
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon
you're,
him, says, I
you're
am between your
interpreting
hands,
something,
Ya Allah. He says, I am between your hands.
yeah,
What
and
does
then
this
Allah
mean? I
also
am between
says
your
use your
power?
reason. So hear me out, brother.
Bro,
I
don't be asking that question though. Don't be asking that question. That's a very disturbing
Ya
question. Go ahead.
Hamdan, Ya Hamdan, Habibi, what are your references? If
what
you
do you
will tell me just logic, then it's subjective. It's your logic.
and you're telling me it's subjective too because that's what you think. There are
No,
scholars who don't believe
No,
that.
no, Habibi, no, no.
We go back to
No,
Hadith, to
I had.
Imam
So I'll
Hanbal,
be honest with
to
you.
the
I
Imam.
had this discussion with a scholar. What's his name, man? The guy who runs Zaytuna, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. He says I reject
Ah,
all.
oh,
He says
great, great.
no. He's not.
I
He's
love.
not a good
Wait,
person.
wait, wait.
Ya
No.
Ya
Poka. Do
Habibi,
you know
they are
Athari? Do you know the
reference.
difference between Athari and Ash'ari? Do you know the difference?
So he's not. Sorry.
No, no, no.
Yeah, I
It's
read.
not. I'm just asking the
Yes,
question.
yes.
Do you
I
know
know.
the difference?
I don't know. I know the difference between Ashari, Mutazali, Maturidi, but
Okay.
I don't.
Did you speak with somebody who's Athari?
With Atari, yeah, you guys,
No, I'm talking about a scholar.
a scholar. Well, I've heard some scholars on TV.
Okay, this is who we are. For you to go and speak with Hamza Yusuf, you're speaking like with an Asian guy about black people. Don't do that. They're not gonna help you. They're not
So
gonna give you useful
only you
information.
guys are right. They're all wrong. I'm
Yes,
curious.
No, no, no.
yes.
It's not just that. It's that we are not the same. So you can't
They're not.
conclude what we think by
Bro,
asking
yes,
him.
But
they're
he is
wrong.
Al Sunnah. He's Al Sunnah. Like what are you?
So what? So what? That
He,
doesn't mean
we
he's right.
disagree on too many things. Simple. He
No, no,
doesn't
no, 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 no,
represent
no.
us.
It's okay. 1 second,
Okay,
Daqiqa,
brother.
Daqiqa. So what? So what? He's Ahlul Sunnah. That doesn't mean he's right.
But you just told me all Al Sunnah are on the right.
No, that's not true. Look, the Asha'ira, as I believe Imam Al-Albani rahimahullah said, they are a part of Ahlus Sunnah in what they agree with Ahlus Sunnah. But what they do not agree with Ahlus Sunnah, they are not a part of Ahlus Sunnah. They are only a part of Ahlus Sunnah in what they agree with.
So only the Salaf are right.
Yes, do you know what the Salaf are? The pious
Only
predecessors.
the
But bro,
self.
we need to take
Okay.
step by step though. We need to take step by step though, because brother, you spread shubuhat, and it's a big problem.
Where did I
And
spread any shubuhat? Tell me. And if
Do you
I did,
believe? If you
I
don't believe
actually asked
Allah,
for forgiveness
you
from
did.
God.
May Allah
But
forgive
my
you and
reason
forgive me.
doesn't allow me to believe that Allah has hands.
Listen carefully. Listen carefully. May Allah forgive you, forgive me, guide you, and guide me. You spread shubahat when you say nonsense like,
But didn't
Allah's
Salaf
hands are
disagree with
power.
each other?
Listen,
I'm asking you a question. Didn't Salaf disagree with each other?
no, not in the matters of creed. I keep telling you from the beginning. You're not listening, bro. But
Bro, have you
look.
even read the Salaf?
Wait. Naim, give me a second. Give me a second. So you said you were asking us, do you believe these hands are physical and whatnot? And Naim told you, no, we don't. And we don't like to answer these questions because the
Sure.
rule is he is nothing like us. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is nothing like
I
His
agree.
creation.
I
So
agree with you.
hold. Okay. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you, if you still have a problem with him having hands, let me ask you this: do you think you have knowledge?
Yeah. No, when we're talking about deduction, deduction is always right. Deduction can't be wrong, right? So if anything violates the laws of logic and cannot
Brother,
be
what is deduction based off of? It's based off of your
deduction,
limited. It's based off your limited intellect. So you can't be
no.
wrong.
No, because if you don't have deduction, then we can't really discuss anything. Because if you're not using deduction, then there's no existence, no nothing.
Bro, what makes science a criteria, bro? Look, bro.
Science is
All
not
I'm
a criteria.
all I'm
Induction is
saying.
never a criteria.
Okay, but I'm
Science
saying
is never a
you
criteria.
you can be first and foremost you're fallible. Your intellect is finite and limited. So obviously your deduction can be wrong.
No, deduct. So here's the thing. You keep confusing induction and deduction, but it's okay. We'll have this. I don't believe science is the criteria. Empirical evidence is never the criteria. I never believe in that.
Yeah, but
But
science
I don't
is
believe.
based
But I don't
science
believe
based
in
off
contradictions. That's what I mean by reason. So
science is
when
based
I
off
when I believe that Allah is
experimentation.
limitless, when I believe Allah is limitless or Allah is one, if Allah says in the Quran He is one, and then it's hard for me to believe that Allah has hands. I don't believe that. So then there
Oh,
is a
here we
contradiction.
go. We just told you, bro. You just said you do believe he has hands. Now you're retracting that
I'm
statement?
saying I reject that he has human-like hands. That's what I'm saying. Now, those hands
No
could
one
mean
said he
anything.
had human
Imam
like
Ghazali said those hands mean power. I'm not saying they mean power. They
he's
could mean
wrong.
anything.
May
But
Allah
that's
guide him. May Allah have mercy upon his soul. Is wrong for that. But what I'm
okay.
saying is, what I'm saying is, أعوذ بالله من
Do you
الشيطان
believe?
الرجيم. Deduction. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. You can deduce. You can be wrong in your reason. That you're not getting it. You
So
can, because
I'm not reasoning
your
anything.
knowledge is
Hand can
limited.
mean anything. That's the point.
No,
But I
listen.
don't
Your
believe.
hand. Listen. Your mind. Your mind is limited. You are limited in your mind. Your intellect is finite. You can be wrong in your reason. That's why we have the Quran and
Sure.
Sunnah to guide you, to the right way to use your intellect and reason. There is a right way and a wrong way to use your reason and intellect. That's why the people in hellfire, they're gonna say, "Oh, how I wished I was of those who are using their intellect correctly, those of understanding." Those of understanding are those who use their intellect and reason the correct way. Just because someone's intellectual doesn't mean they're right, because they can use their reason the wrong way. Allah gave you, yes, He gave you reason, but you can use it the right way or the wrong way. And the way to know which way to use it is in the Quran, in the Sunnah. If you veer away from it,
I've
then
never
you'll find
disagreed
yourself
with
in
that.
the, huh?
I don't disagree with that. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
you'll find yourself in hellfire with the people who are saying, "I wish I was of those who use my reason correctly. I was of those of understanding." Who are those of reason, those of understanding, those who used it correctly. This is how I understood from a student of knowledge. But may Allah guide us, man, to be honest.